The common law and the law of merchants and even the UCC all have remedy and recourse. So they all have, these are all systems of fairness to some degree. But for the longest time, we couldn't find it. So if you go to a library and ask to see the UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code, they will show you a shelf of books completely filled with the UCC. You can also go to cornelllaw.org, I think, and just to look up Cornell Law, search for lots of UCC documents there as well. I suggest knowing that and learning where to look those things up. When you pick up one volume and start to read it, you'll seem to like it's intentionally been written to be confusing, kind of like the IRS code. It's called a code for a reason, right? So it took a long time to discover where the remedy and recourses are found in the UCC. But we found it right there in the first volume. And it's UCC 1-207 and 1-103. And also you'll want to make a note that 207 has been replaced with 308. So when you hear we talk about UCC 1-207 or 1-103, write those down, go look them up, UCC 1-207 and UCC 1-103. Read those carefully and get to know those. They're going to really help you. And again, 1-308 has also sort of been replaced. So the remedy, here's one form of remedy. When you sign something, especially a government document or a banking document or some sort of contractual agreement, remember these things, okay? They may not be used in your everyday, person-to-person things, but when you're dealing with entities in the system, you need to know this stuff. So, you want to make a valid reservation of rights, which preserves whatever rights the person possessed at that time, preventing the loss of such rights by application of the concepts or waiver or estoppel. That's UCC 1-207. It's important to remember that when we go to court that we are in a commercial international jurisdiction. You're not in a court of law, so stop calling it that. If we go into court and say, I demand my constitutional rights, the judge will most likely say, and many people have heard this who've been on this call, you mention the Constitution again and I'll find you in contempt of court. Boy, how many times have I heard people told that? Well, we don't then understand how we can do that. Hasn't he sworn to uphold the Constitution? The rule here is this. You cannot be charged, by the way, look up the word charged, under one jurisdiction and defend under another. So if one issue is about a charge, you should be dealing with the charge. If one's about a crime, you should be dealing with the crime. But they always charge you. So, for example, if the French government came to you and asked where you filed your French income tax for a certain year, do you go to the French government and say, I demand my constitutional rights? No. The proper answer is the law doesn't apply to me. I'm not a Frenchman. Are you a U.S. citizen? Really? You must make your reservation of rights under the jurisdiction in which you are charged, not under some other jurisdiction. This is a big mistake people make. So in UCC court, you must claim your reservation of rights under the UCC 1-207, which is now 1-308. So at this point, it appears 1-308 is the current one to use. So write that down. Reserve your rights under UCC 1-308. Section 21, 207, which is now 1-308. So at this point, it appears 1-308 is subject if you use this. So be ready for that. So what is the compelled performance of an unrevealed commercial agreement? Prejudice UCC 1-308. When you use without prejudice or without prejudice 1-308, in connection with your signature, you're saying, I reserve my right not to be compelled to perform under any contract or commercial agreement I do not enter into knowingly, voluntarily, and intentionally. I do not accept the liability of any compelled benefit or any unrevealed. In connection with your signature, you're saying, I reserve my right not to be compelled to perform under any contract or commercial agreement I do not enter into knowingly, voluntarily, and intentionally. I do not accept the liability of any compelled benefit or any unrevealed contract or commercial agreement. Now, you'd have to almost memorize this to really imbibe that. Get it into your head. Get you off on another subject if you use this. So be ready for that. So what is the compelled performance of an unrevealed commercial agreement? Well, when you use Federal Reserve notes instead of silver dollars, it's voluntary, right? No? No, it's not. There is no lawful money, so you have to use Federal Reserve notes. They don't give you a choice. It's compelled. You have to accept the benefit. So the government has given you a benefit to discharge your debts. How nice, aren't they? But if you have not reserved your rights under 1-308, you are compelled to accept the benefit. In other words, you can't shake that thing off, and therefore obligated to obey every statute, ordinance, and regulation of the government at all levels of government, federal, local, and state. So if you understand this, you'll be able to explain it to the judge when he asks, and he will ask. So be prepared to explain this statement in court. You'll need to understand UCC 1-103. UCC 1-103. Argument